So Joe, you really talk about commitment, and it takes a lot of energy and drive to stay committed when you're looking down the long end of a multi-year or multi-decade prison term. But we can see the results of that. You can see it in Joe. You can see it in everything that I've taught everybody I profile. There are guys who went to jail, had to go through it, had to climb their way out, had to build their way out here, but it's few and far between. And I'm going to ask Joe kind of a tough question right now because I think you need to know it. Joe, let me just start by saying, how many people do you think you have interviewed over the course of your career as the host of and the founder of the After Prison Show? How many people?
Probably about 100.
About 100 formerly incarcerated people. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
So out of that 100, I know that everybody in jail and prison is reading Rob Report and dreaming about the Mercedes and stuff that they're going to drive, right? How many of those 100 have come out and become pretty successful versus how many you've met that are really struggling to get their feet on the ground?
Not very many at all. I can't even tell you an exact number because I don't even want to deter you telling you that number because it's going to be super low. And that's, I think that plays in heavily to people giving up. I've seen guys who have been successful after prison, and then it's just one day they're back locked up again. I've got a guy that I've worked with for quite a while, one of the most ambitious and most driven guys that I had known. And this guy had started, he had always dreamed of a landscape business. I don't know why, but he wanted to do landscape. I told him landscape is a dime a dozen. That's, okay. But anyways, he ended up getting some sort of a business, some sort of like a handyman business, and he was getting a fair amount of work, and he was staying busy. And I'll never forget the day that he told me he made his first $1,000. This man had tears in his eyes. He said, I made my first $1,000, and I didn't do it, in a legal way, which actually sounds like a rap song. But it's the truth. This guy told me he made his first $1,000. He had tears in his eyes, and he did it the right way. And I was so proud of this guy. And he was doing great, doing everything that he needed to be doing. But then he fell back into drugs. And then he ended up catching some pretty bad drug charges. And this guy had been to prison more times than I had. He was older than I was. And he ended up getting out on bond because of this virus going on with the world right now. And, we talked about this after the fact. I actually had to wash my hands of the situation because I can't partake in, even if you're my friend, if you involve yourself with the wrong things, it's going to be the hardest thing that you got to do, but you have got to wash your hands of the situation, and you have got to cut that negativity out of your life. This man came to my house and cried in my front yard, telling me, Joe, I'm sorry. I got greedy. I just wanted to make some extra money. I said, look, it's as cold and as callous as this is going to sound, it's the truth. I told him, look, you don't even have to explain this to me. I said, I'm so sorry that you put yourself in this situation, but I'm done. I can't deal with you. If that's the type of stuff that you're going to do, you got to go do that elsewhere because I can't be around it. I've suffered from addiction myself. It could be easily, I could easily find myself falling back, and I don't want to do that. I haven't done that in the time that I've been released. Almost 6 years, I imagine. It's probably almost 6 years this October. And sometimes it's going to be those hard decisions. Another guy that we featured, he's very successful now. And when I say very successful, he's not a millionaire. This is a man that's got a family. He's got a nice little life with his girl and his kids. He's got a place. He's working on getting his license. He's got a good job, and he is happy. He is so happy. And one thing that he said to me, and I will never forget this, he said, sometimes, what did he say? He said, sometimes the right thing to do is going to be the hardest decision that you ever make. Doing the right thing is going to be the hardest thing that you ever do. Whether it's saying no to going to the party or involved or being around what you shouldn't be around, for one, they'll probably get you violated and locked back up again. And two, if you suffer from some kind of addiction problems or being around people who you could end up doing the wrong thing with because they're out there committing crime and trying to get it the easy way. Or whether it's just giving up on yourself altogether. You don't even need nobody else to do it wrong. You can do it yourself just with the wrong type of thinking about what you're trying to do for you. And as bad as this is going to sound, it's the damn truth. You have got to come home, or you have got to get through whatever situation that you're in. And sometimes you have got to be selfish about this. Sometimes you have got to think about you first. I've heard guys tell me, oh, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because how can I support the girl? Man, forget the girl. What about you when you get caught? You got to be selfish, because where you're at right now, you're the only one who is there. You're there, your friends ain't there, your girl ain't there, your family ain't there, and you can't do nothing else for nobody else until you get you right first.
Well, Joe, I got to say, you have just completely articulated one of the lessons in our course, which talks about making 100% commitment. That's what having the right attitude is. If you can define success with your values, if you can set the clear goals that are going to be the tactics that help you get to that success, the next step is to have the right attitude. And the right attitude isn't, hey, I'm not the one to tell you whether you have the right attitude. You got to make that assessment yourself. And you got to say, is my attitude does it reflect 100% commitment to success? And that may mean saying goodbye to your friends. It may mean saying goodbye to your family. I mean, I can tell you a story that really resonates with me from what you just said. Our course is in jails and prisons across America. More than 100,000 people go through it, and a lot of times these guys get out and they pick up the phone, they give me a call. Yo, bro, I just got out of prison. I've been working through your course, was super inspired by it, gonna do the right thing. I got a job already. Awesome, right? Great news. Then he called, and they'll call a lot. And, because my audience is different. Joe's got a massive audience out here. My audience is all locked up. But when they come home, they reach out. Joe, this guy calls me. He says, hey, bro, I'm at the bus stop. I'm looking at a guy right now, and I could just see he's down and out. He just got out of jail. I could just see the look on him, right? What can we do to help him? My answer to him may sound cold and may sound calloused, but it's the same answer I'd give to anybody in there, okay? The best thing for you to do is turn around and walk away. If you want to be strong yourself, you got to follow this model that says, God helps those who help themselves first. You already went through the Straight A Guide program. You've already learned how to live a values-based life. You just got out of jail and you just got a job. But if you try to help a guy right now when you're still weak, that guy's going to pull you down. He's going to drag you down. He's going to introduce you to the negative influences because his weakness is stronger than your strength. And it's kind of like when you get on an airplane, the stewardess tells you, if you're traveling with a child and this plane goes down and the oxygen goes, put it on yourself first before you put it on your child. Because if you try to take care of your child first and you lose consciousness, both you and the child go down. We, as formerly incarcerated people, have got to listen to Joe's message of commitment, of 100% commitment. That, as you've seen in all my books, if you're reading this, you've seen it's about commitment. That's the way you get people to believe in you. That's the way you get people to see you, not for the bad decisions that you've made, but what you can become. And when you listen to a guy like Joe Guerrero, that is what you can become. Success as you define it, not as I define it, not as Joe define it, certainly not as your case manager defines it, as you define it.